Okie dokie, welcome on in. Happy everybody. What's up, Haley?
What's up, Ryan? We are back for another Friday with our weekly real estate roundup for you guys. So thank you for watching and tuning in. And, we're hopefully giving you some entertainment while it's stormy and cold. And it doesn't feel like that San Diego weather right now.
There's a blizzard warning for the greater San Diego County area. Yes, you heard that right. Blizzard, like snow. Crazy.
That's insane. That's crazy.
How does it even happen?
Stay safe out there. Stay dry. Stay warm.
Put your sweater on. Layer up, right?
Exactly. And, get some prospecting done. Set up the computer. Get some mind touches, some journaling. I love this weather because I love having like a candle lit and just like being like when I'm reading in the morning or doing my journaling in the morning. And just, it's so dark in the house with just a candle, and it's so nice.
Peaceful.
Yes.
Yeah. Lean into the quiet, the dreariness, and make it a reading by the fireplace moment, right?
Exactly.
We know Katie can't wait to get in her pajamas and read books. We were talking I'm sure she's stoked. Everybody knows that now.
Right?
But last Friday in February, holy cow, before you know it, it'll be summer and fall and Christmas, and here we go again. But we are here in February, entering in the middle of the first quarter, I guess it is still. But market is on the move. We've seen a ton of offers coming through, over asking even. Mm-hmm. I think a little dip in the inventory definitely got buyers off the fence.
Yeah, and one of our agents posted a super interesting article regarding numbers and what numbers were showing, and it's a lot different than 2008 because our inventory in 2008, there was still way more inventory than what we have now. So we still have a huge supply and demand issue because especially with all the talk of interest rates going up and these kinds of things, a lot of what we're hearing is our agents are saying, yeah, my buyers are like, well, let's go now. Like, we need to get in whatever we can do because we want to keep a manageable payment in case rates, go up. What if they go up to 7s or 8s? At least right now, they're still pretty manageable. So We're seeing a lot of multiple offers again, a lot of traffic through open houses, a lot of just kind of good activity happening in this market.
Which is encouraging because, you have a shortfall, a lack of houses available for sale, but people still need to buy. Mm-hmm. People still are having babies. People still have job transfers. People are still getting advancements and promotions at work that means they can afford more house. So the lack of inventory and the existence of maybe a smaller buyer pool because of interest rates and the cost of money, or just fear factor and consumer confidence, all those things are contributing factors, but the inventory is low enough to still be like, things are happening in escrow.
And I don't want to, I think we shouldn't say maybe it's necessarily not such a smaller buyer pool, but a way more qualified buyer pool and people that are actually ready to go and that you're not sitting there spinning your wheels with, and then they put in the offer and then they're like, oh wait, never mind. Like, these people are actually people that are hungry. They want a piece of the rock. They wanted to get into real estate in San Diego. So that's, I would say, we are having a really good quality problem of buyers. It may be a little bit of smaller pool, but they're way more qualified out there.
Well, and it's just testament to the fact that it just go back a short, 75 days ago, 2 months ago, to when we were doing our business plan, writing down goals in the beginning of the year, which is a common practice for many of us in the professional world. And just exterior conditions, exterior situations are going to change. But don't let it change your interior goals, your drive, your system, your business plans, right? Mm-hmm. If you just put your head down and do you, and do the things on your business plan and execute your plan, you're going to create your own market. You're going to create your own opportunities, whether it be through a relationship, being doing the right thing at the right time, because consistent effort over time equals consistent results. We know that, we live that, we see that every day. So whatever they're saying about the market, just be true to what you're doing to move the ball forward and progress a little bit every day.
Well, and I think it's important for us to kind of come to this, like, come to Jesus moment or have a realization of this market is so cyclical and things change so quickly. It's almost like it changes overnight. That's really the only constant that we can rely on is change. But if you keep it up and keep doing your prospecting, keep your work going, you're always going to be in the workflows of things happening and deals going where you're not going to have so much attention being paid on what else is going on in the world, what else is happening. So just being intentional with your prospecting and keeping that, and just remembering it's always going to change. So we didn't get into real estate to, I think, have a steady income or have a steady job flow, a 9 to 5. Like, if you got into real estate and you thought that was the case, like, I hope you have your rude awakening already.
Well, these
markets,
because
these are
undulations. Yeah, I mean, the peaks and valleys, the undulations we've had just in the last 24, 12 months, 6 months. It's been a kind of a rocky road, right? Favorite ice cream, by the way. But like, if you're consistent, it's definitely tested your mettle, right?
Yes.
You've had a moment where you're like, and it's tested your commitment to your real estate practice, your title practice, your sales practice around the real estate profession. It's been tested. We've all had second guessing moments, but really what she's saying is that we expect the change, but we have systems that we adhere to consistently, so that no matter what comes, we can know what's working, know what's not working, because we're doing it consistently, and scale up what you're awesome at, scale up what you're seeing results from, and scale down what you're not getting results from, or just obliterate it from the plan. And do that, and do an audit. Like we talk to a lot of our customers, do a look back at your last 10 deals, at your last 10 transactions. What were the sources of those transactions? Were they 8 out of 10 were referral, I would bet? Was it from circle prospecting? Was it from BNI or a networking group? Was it from happy hours? Where did they come from?
Right.
And then you'll start to see a pattern as you look at over the last 20 deals, the last 50 deals. What is a good source of business for you? If you haven't done that, it's a wonderful practice to look back and see and source your deals, and then say, wow, I seem to be pretty good at buying fixers, or at networking, or I'm a hell of a cold caller. Like nine out of my 10 deals came from cold calling. So it's telling you something. Pay attention. Do more of that, because you happen to be good at it.
Right? And evolve into that. Do more of it and find those things. Like, you don't know what you don't know, and you don't know what you're not good at. And we hear this so much in any kind of sales industry that you're in, like, oh, I don't cold call. I'm not good at it.
Right.
Well, why are we identifying as that? Why are we telling ourselves? Because if you talk to any successful business owners, successful coaches, they tell you that cold calling and getting on the phone is one of the most important aspects of running a business and maintaining that business and creating new relationships. So why would we identify and say, oh, we're just not a cold caller, if we haven't even tried it yet?
Right.
Or at least tried it enough to have that response back. And enough is by thousands and thousands of calls, not just 100 calls in one day and saying, oh, it doesn't work for me. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
So, and it's about doing that over and over. And you guys, Louie just mentioned it, the market's always changing. It's always ebbs and flows, peaks and valleys. So how are you evolving and adapting to that market? And what are you course correcting? And what are you changing to make sure that you are adapting with it and evolving and staying kind of one step ahead of it?
Absolutely. And whether it's outreach digitally, or at some point you got to get on the phone with these people, because the voice to voice is generally what gets you to the face to face, that gets you to the relationship, that gets you to the business, right? So I know Michael Jordan didn't particularly like being the first in the gym and the last out of the gym. He didn't particularly like the practice, but you know what he loved? The result. And last count was he was the greatest of all time basketball player, 6 rings. I'm pretty sure he got the results he was looking for. So he went through and pushed through the work, the practice, the stuff that he didn't particularly love, because he knew that the result was so sweet that he was willing to put in the stuff that he didn't really like to do. And that's what we have to kind of lean into as sales professionals. We're all salespeople, okay? And there are parts of sales that suck, but you just embrace the suck, like the Navy SEALs talk about, right? You don't have to be like hip, like rainbow and sunshines and doing high fives up and down and cartwheels up and down the halls in your office, but you got to do it, you know? And you just, whether it's 30 minutes and you adhere to a time block, and that 30 minutes is all you're doing, and I'm only doing it 3 times a week, but I will lead generate, and fine, come up with your system, what works for you, but do the work to get to the mountaintop.
Right. Well, and it's funny, we were just talking about testing different things, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't work. I mean, prime example, Michael Jordan, greatest of all time basketball players, 6 rings, in the gym, at before and after. Guess what? He wanted to try baseball. He was like, I could probably do this too. Yeah. Epically failed at it, terrible, and then realized, hey, that's not my jam. I'm going to go back to my jam. And went back to basketball. So we all try these different things and see what works, see what doesn't. We play the field, split test your Facebook ads, your marketing ideas, but we don't know what we're not doing. So hit us up for those ideas where we can help you come up with those different verticals and different systems and different kind of metrics that you can play the field with it and test everything else.
That was awesome. Great segue. And one of the things out there, which is actually what we're trying to do a video on.
Trying to segue to.
Swept away. But one of those tantalizing little things that's happening in March is a tax auction sale. Okay, and we are here to inform you guys and go over a little bit of what those look like and why they're not necessarily the best place to go to acquire property, whether it be fixers or a buy and hold situation or just looking to buy a property. Many of the things that sell at the tax auction are just lots. Like 90% are lots or random.
By the time it actually gets to the tax auction, right?
Right.
Like you could see it online and there's houses, all this other stuff. But by the time you actually get to the auction, it's usually lots or something that's not as desirable as you intended on going there.
Yeah, and in 2001, I started title, and we're here in 2023. And I've never heard somebody say, man, I hit a homer or a grand slam with this property I found at the tax auction. So
if you did, let us know in the comments, please.
Please. Comment, call, text, smoke signals, all of the ways to get a hold of us. But another thing is that no title company, it's an underwriting issue because say you go to the property goes to auction for 40 grand and it gets bid up to $150,000 say because it's an attractive lot, it's in a good part of town, et cetera, et cetera. So that excess on the auction has to make sure that there's no other liens, no lender, no mechanics lien, no cousin Betty that's owed 40 grand. They have to settle that account prior to any title company insuring title. So for you to go in and want to resell that property for a profit, underwriters and title companies are like, well, we're not ready to insure that until the county issues a settlement of that account. So you're looking at 12 months, 24 months without a title, an insurable title.
And that could also mean, any liens, like any mortgages or junior liens on there, anything that they haven't paid on that could be in foreclosure, anything, you would now become the proud new owner of, could be $200,000, $300,000 debt on top of what you thought was just a $40,000 tax lien on the property. So these things do come up in the tax auction, and we hear this a lot. And we know that owner has, like Ryan mentioned, that's a huge important part to remember is that owner has up to 12 months to come reinstate that property, right?
Yeah.
So they can, that's what another main reason why title insurance companies cannot insure it, because that owner could still come back, or the previous owner could come back, pay off the liens, and come back into his property. So we have to make sure that the deal is done, right? Like everything's paid and taken care of and done. So it's a little more intricate and there's a lot more moving pieces than I think one of us, the individual, likes to think of, like, oh, they're just in tax default, we can get this.
Yeah, we can swoop and get it, pick it up for just what they owe in taxes, and I'll swoop this $500,000 house in Spring Valley, when really there's a little bit more to it than that. There's a redemptive period. There's the underwriting guidelines of insurable title, and if you don't have marketable title, you can't sell a property.
Right, and usually these properties are in tax default for 4 to 5 years prior to going into auction. So it's a pretty hefty number sometimes we're looking at on these tax auctions. So, yeah. And also we get hit up a lot for going into a lot of details with this properties. It's really, we want to make sure we're protected and protecting you guys, so we can only give you the information that's recorded. And if there's something else on the property or some kind of lien that's been on there that's attached to anything else that, we're in a human business and human error, if it didn't come up and we didn't see it, we don't want you guys to be responsible for acquiring that as well.
Yeah, because it could be a real big surprise that costs you a ton of money and bankrupts that particular deal. The profitability, not only do you go out of the green, you go into the red on some of these when you roll the dice on some of these auctions. So just public service announcement, a little more education on that front, but not all is lost, because there are other sources that I think we talked about last week on how to identify motivated sellers and people that are experiencing distress that can be isolated to one thing that they're going through, whether it be a bankruptcy or somebody passed away on the property and there's a probate going on, or divorce or notice of default. All of those are available in the title toolbox, and we can talk about that. But those are viable segments of the marketplace to go to find people that are incredibly motivated because the life change is preempting retail value. It's preempting, is it selling season? It's just, it needs to happen. That's the level of motivation that trumps everything else.
I actually got feedback yesterday from an agent calling affidavits of death, and he said he is having great conversations with family members, with next of kins, people that say kind of exactly what we've said, like, yeah, we're ready to get rid of this property. We don't live here. We don't want to deal with this. Like, we had to file the affidavit of death because they died. We want this done. What do we do next? So they're having really good conversations, and those motivated sellers are a great hotspot to go to. So hit us up so we can kind of go back over that if you have any questions on what we talked about last week with the motivated sellers, because that's a huge vertical to be hitting right now, I would say.
Absolutely. And you know, your sphere of influence is always a good idea to be routinely connecting with your past client database, your friends and family, the people you go to the gym with, golf with, drink with, surf with, go to church with, etc. Those are your relationships. Those people want to see you win. But if you're not top of mind, sometimes you don't get that referral, okay? But by doing so, do people know people that are going through divorce, or people that have lost a business, or people that are in one of these life-changing modes in their life? Absolutely. So it's like, I'm not selling to Haley, I'm selling through Haley to all the people in her world and universe that she knows. And she might have a couple people that fit the bill of one of these distress categories. And now you're getting that relationship referral through there to add the trust and credibility. And also through your circle prospecting, you're going to run into people that follow into these categories. And then obviously we can identify the categories in your region and you can target them specifically. So there are methods and tactical strategies that you can put into place to targeting the motivated seller, which is like the unicorn, right?
Exactly.
Right?
Those are the ones who are going to have the higher likelihood of having to list their property. So that's where we want to step in and help you guys come up with those different verticals. But we are getting a lot of questions right now about the tax auction, about tax properties. So please text us, call us about that. We'd love to go over it with you. And anything else on that front, hit us up. Let us know on it.
Until then, we really appreciate the opportunity to be with you today and to impart these little title nuggets to you. I guess we'll see you next week in March.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, next week in March. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Bye.